Hi, this is Allyse Sedivy, and today we're going to be talking about how to effectively work with hosts and hostesses. Now, this is one of the most important parts of your business because this is how you actually tap into other people's warm markets, right? So when you're sampling, when you're following up, when you're inviting to a class, these are all your own contacts. This is your warm market. And it's great. In fact, you probably won't have more successful classes than your own classes because these are people that know you and trust you. But when somebody comes to a class and they buy a kit and you help them understand and get them excited about the value of hosting their own class, then now you're actually tapping in to other people's warm markets, right? And so this is where your business actually starts to explode when you start tapping in to other people's warm markets. So it's phenomenal. And remember, at the class, the way that you get people interested in hosting is we hold that keychain and we say, hey, let me show you something super, super cool. This is a keychain. Everyone needs it, and then you ask, who wants this? And everyone goes, I do. And then you simply say, well, this isn't something you purchase. This is something you actually earn. And the way you earn this is by having a class just like this, the script of how we get to book classes off of classes. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do at the end of the class. Now we need to know what steps do we take after the class and how do we help these hostesses become successful, okay? And what is the method and how do we duplicate this? So the first thing I want to talk about is there are 3 different types of people that want to host classes. The first is just the type of person that wants to share information with their friends and family. But they're not really interested in making money. If they got a free bottle of oil, they'd be fantastic. They'd be excited. It'd be great. So those are definitely just product users that want to spread the knowledge about essential oils. And the second is someone who wants to share the product and possibly help pay for the oils that they use or get some oils for free. Make a little bit of commissions off of it. These are sharers. These are people that you wouldn't put on your front line, but you could put on your second level or your third level. Actually, not your second level, which is where committed or capable people go, but your third level. Okay, so the third type of person is the type of person who wants to host a class because they want to build a business with doTERRA. And sometimes right after the class, somebody says, yeah, I'm interested in hosting. You don't really know what type of person you're working with. And so you've got to find out what type of person you're working with. Now, I'm just going to kind of give an overview, and then I'm going to let you watch a video from Ossie Atkinson where she's going to explain it a little bit more in detail. And so I want to make sure you understand that if somebody wants to host a class, number one, you don't talk about the details of hosting that class at their first essential oil class that they came and they purchased a kit. It's way too much information, okay? And number two, when you set a date with them, you have to set a date that's at least 2 weeks away, in the future. And the reason why is because you need time to sample people and time to follow up with people, right? So they have a good experience before they come to the class. And then the next thing is you need to realize that for helping people host classes, it's a little bit different than when you're doing it yourself. Let me explain. So our process, our standard sampling and inviting process is number one, we reach out and we make a contact, right? We tell them that we love essential oils, that we want to share it with them, whether it's the business or the product. That's number one. Number two is we deliver the sample. Number three is we follow up until they have a great experience. Number four is we invite them to the class, right? Number five is that we have a 2-day reminder call to make sure that they still are excited. Number 6 is a 2-hour reminder call. And the 7th is we have a class or a one-on-one. That's the standard sampling process. What we're going to change here is one part. You know how we say people shouldn't come to a class until they have a good experience. That's still the case. But if someone is a host or a hostess and they want to invite their friends to a class, it's kind of strange for them just to call up their friends or their family and say, hey, I want to drop you off a sample of essential oils. I go, why? Are you selling essential oils? No, I just want to drop it off for you. That's kind of strange. So they actually have to invite them to a class at the very beginning. Instead of waiting for the invite, they would actually call up and invite to the class and offer a sample as a gift before they come to a class so they can check out the sample before they come. Does that make sense? So it's a lot more natural. It flows better, right? Now, when they are inviting to a class, the steps for a hostess inviting to a class is a little bit different. And Asti is going to go over a lot of these things with you. But first they invite to a class and offer a sample as a gift. Then they deliver the sample. Then they follow up. Then they have a 2-day reminder call, then a 2-hour reminder text, and then they have the class. So the one thing that's really changing is the invite is at the beginning when they call and make that contact instead of at the very end, okay? And there's a lot of different, there's good and bad ways to invite people to a class. And in the next video that you're going to watch, Asti is going to go over the exact script of how you get that done. So basically what happens is if you're working with somebody and you basically tell them, hey, when you're sitting down at a wellness consult, that is the ideal time after the wellness consult is over to talk about their class that they're wanting to host. And you basically tell them, hey, we have a class date set for, next, Thursday in 2 weeks or whenever it is. And I'd really like to make that class just as successful as the class that you attended. And I'd like to have all of your friends that come to that class have a really powerful experience just like you did. So I'm going to write down for you all the steps that I did to make sure that you had a good experience so it's clear. And so you know what it takes to give someone a great experience at the class. And then we can decide, who wants to do these steps. And then you write down for them. I called and I gave you a sample. I followed up with a sample. I invited you to a class. I called you 2 days before. I texted 2 hours before. And then you have the hostess look at this list and decide which of these things they would like to do and which that they, don't want to do. And this is where it really separates who's a sharer, who's a product user, who's a sharer, and who's really building the business, okay? So they need to decide that kind of what level of commitment and involvement that they have and how much they want to do. Now, if you're dealing with a hostess, someone that just wants to host and is a product user, they'll probably say, well, these are my friends. I can invite them to the class and maybe offer the sample and possibly deliver the sample. Some of them will say, well, I can just I can invite people to a class and could you deliver the sample? And you say, whatever you don't want to do, I'll do. Okay. So if someone wants to do just maybe steps 1 and 2, you're probably working with just a hostess, a product user. If they say, hey, well, I'll invite to the class and deliver the sample and follow up and, possibly do a reminder call. If they do 3 or 4 things, then you're probably working with a sharer, and which means you'd probably place them on your 3rd level or down. And if you have someone that looks over the entire list and says, oh, I can do all of this, I'll totally just kind of lead me through it and tell me how to get it done, you probably are working with a builder. And it's a great way of sifting people and knowing kind of where they belong in your organization. All right. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to listen to Asti Atkinson's video and go over and practice the script that she gives. It's a script actually to help your hostess know exactly what to say. And if you're familiar with it, then it's really, really helpful for you to practice that script and role play that script with your hostess. And then after that, right, you go through the steps. And like I said before, it doesn't always go perfectly because these people aren't engaged in the business as much as you are. But the cool thing you need to remember is whatever they do and whoever comes is more people that you didn't have in your warm market before that you do have now. So whatever they do is kind of a bonus and a cherry on top. It's awesome. So go ahead and listen to the video that Asti is doing, and I hope this makes things really, really clear for how to work with hostesses. Bye-bye.